let's take a look at some verses in line with this. So let's bring up today's silence is the language of God. See, because if you think about it, words by their very nature, they limit. But the word, you see, the word is almost, the kind of enantiodroma, the kind of opposing super potential effects that the word has. On one hand, I feel that the word is it is almost like the source of life, that it brings to life things that could not have otherwise been. And I feel on one hand, it has this, you see, for example, let me explain. You see, you write something almost into being. You write down a plan, a to-do list, a strategy. And often it is. You see, it's the power of the word when you think of it and how it's used over time, that a person speaks and how there is a reaction. See, you can see why people think the word is magic. Let's say a general exclaims march or shoot, and at the kind of the almost magical pronouncement of his word, the armies unleash their weapons, they unleash their rage. The word, when you think of the word, just what the word can do, can evoke an emotion. It can bring someone to tears. It can make somebody ecstatically, in a state of ecstatic joy beyond themselves. It's truly, when you see the power of it, it's almost impossible that we have the word. Almost impossible. Language makes zero sense when you think about it. It's not something that could be rationalized. It would be deemed an absolute impossibility to just think about it. How does language work? The signified and the signifier. It would be impossible to orchestrate language. Impossible. Yet it's the most base and obvious of human traits. And in some ways, when we look at the mystery of Allah saying in the Quran, kun fayakun. You see, it's interesting because Allah says in the Quran that amruhu li shay'in idha arada an yakun. You see, Allah's command, if you like, or his matter, however you want to understand amruhu, an yaqula lahu kun fayakun. But this part now is quite mysterious, because really one could think that Allah's affair, when he wanted something to be, arada, that with the irada it was. But it wasn't. See, with the divine will, it ought to have emerged into existence. Yet it didn't. Allah brought the word into existence. Be. Then it was. See, that's a strange, there's so much, I think, in that verse to unpack that it may take a lifetime to understand it and still not understand it. That why that injunction? Like it should have really just been when Allah willed it was. But there's something about the word that is so powerful beyond measure that perhaps Allah is bringing our attention to that. So, and then the irony, the kind of enantiodroma that you have, this thing in Jungian psychology of a thing with its absolute opposites, polarized opposites, that if it has that capacity to bring something into existence, then does it possess the I could just hear the PC. 1 second. Right. Does it have its opposing powers, if you like, to reduce what's going on? Right. Does it? And when you think about it, it does. Because the moment you trap something into the word, it also loses, at times, it just loses its spirit in some ways. Not all. See, that like you have the polarized opposites, that the moment you try to, because if you think about it, institutionalization is built on structuralizing everything and giving it structures and formations, and the word is built on form. So when you impose a word on something, you are imposing a form, a structure, and thereby restricting that very thing. It's like when we try to speak about God, or we try to speak about, we can't. Whatever we do, it's an infantile attempt. So it's amazing. Just wow, the polar opposites of the word. Food for thought, people.